call this meeting of Palmyra Borough Council to order. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence for the armed services. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brenda, may we please have roll call?
Sure thing. Counselor Andrews is absent. Counselor Catalani?
Here.
Counselor Fliegel?
Here.
Counselor Coroli?
Here.
Counselor Rydell?
Here.
Counselor Touche?
Here.
Counselor Shear?
Here.
Mayor Miller?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Reminder, everyone please silence your all cellular devices during the meeting. Thank you. And council members, please turn on your microphones if you haven't already. Borough Council held an executive session at the conclusion of the February 25th meeting to discuss personnel issues. As permitted by the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, any official action resulting from the executive session will occur during a public meeting. And then, most of you have probably already heard, but our former mayor, Fred Carpenter, 78 of Palmyra, passed away on Thursday, March 6th, 2025 at the Lebanon VA Medical Center. He was the husband of Ann Carpenter, with whom he celebrated 56 years of marriage. Fred was born in Lebanon on February 1st, 1947, to the late Simon and Elsie Magny Carpenter. He was a U.S. Air Force veteran. Fred was a dispatcher for Lebanon County and Derry Township. He was appointed EMA Director of Palmyra in March 1979 and resigned as EMA Director in November 2001. He was elected to Palmyra Borough Council in November 1987, sworn into the position in January 1988, served until December 2007, was reappointed to council in July 2008, and served until June 2010. He was appointed the Palmyra Mayor in June 2010 and resigned the position in January 2025. Fred was the coordinator for the carnivals in Palmyra at the Fireman's Park and involved with the parades in the community. He was all about service to his community. He also enjoyed visiting the shore and going grocery shopping. He was all about finding a good deal. Surviving, in addition to his wife, are his children, Michael T. Carpenter of Mechanicsburg, Amanda Mandy Pfeiffer of Quentin, grandchildren Jesse, Megan, and Savannah, and siblings Harry Carpenter, wife Jan of Palmyra, and Dorothea Yorty, husband Dan of Lebanon. He was preceded in death by his siblings Randy Carpenter, Bob Carpenter, Kenneth Williams, and Judy Sisko. Funeral services will be held on Monday, March 17th, 2025 at 11 a.m. at Kramer Funeral Home and Crematory, 618 East Main Street in Annville. Interment will be held at Indiantown Gap National Cemetery with military honors. There will be a viewing held on Sunday, March 16th, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the funeral home, and there will be another viewing held on Monday morning from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. at the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, contributions can be made to the Lebanon VA Medical Center Hospice Unit, 1700 South Lincoln Avenue, Lebanon, PA 17042. And I would just like to say on behalf of the council, he's going to be missed. We all know he loved his community, and for those of us that are older council members, it's a loss. So we're going to miss you, Fred. All right, now, the last announcement I have, Councilor Andrews would like to apologize for his absence this evening. He has missed the last 2 meetings due to illness. While he is feeling better, he will be absent from this meeting because he and his wife welcomed their baby daughter yesterday evening. Miss Elizabeth Elliott Andrews arrived at the delight of both her parents and her 2 brothers. Councilor Andrews wants to assure the residents of Palmyra that he will be back in attendance at the next meeting on March 25th.
How
Yes.
poignant that you announce a death
Yes.
and a birth
Yep.
at the same meeting.
Yes.
always say that. You always say that. All right, no special visitors scheduled, which takes us to public comment period number 1. Please step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Gregory, 233 East Hazel Street. Sorry, Chief. I think the police presence on the north side of the tracks is sad. If, I'll give you 2 for instances. This past couple days, motorcycles running up and down Grant Street. It's that time of year, like they're a racetrack. Spruce Street, the same thing. What really has me pissed off is north side. I'm sorry, Memorial Park, old school, it's still north side to me. Last month, I saw graffiti on the doors of the pavilion. I walk there every day, every morning, maybe 3 times a week in the evening. Within the last 3 days, that whole inside of that pavilion is covered with graffiti right now. I seen 3 little hooligans tonight. I rousted their little butts out of there. They said they didn't do anything, and I don't know if they did. But it was a shame in 3 days how bad that looks. I mean to tell you, there's hardly anything on the walls, doors, everything in that pavilion that is not covered with stuff.
Challenge you?
You can challenge me all you
I
want.
guess my question would be, if you saw there was no graffiti, and then you saw the graffiti, why wouldn't you call us?
I just now saw it tonight.
But why not call us then? When you see it, call, because you're my perfect timeline. Because you saw it when there was nothing there, and now you saw when it was there, so I can narrow a timeline down, and we can actually go back and look through the cameras. I'm the believer in, the biggest thing I still say in this whole community is, people see things and never call the police. It was the same with the fireworks. They wanted to come here and complain about fireworks, but nobody called us. When people called us, what did we do? We took care of it. We started issuing citations, and your fireworks went down.
Yeah.
It's the same with this. If people see those things, call us so we can address it.
The day between the day that I was there and it wasn't there, I missed the day, and then I was here today. And it's there today. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but, you know, if I don't see it, you know, I mean, I love that park.
I want people to call us when they find stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem
And
is
if I'd have had a
people-
hold of it, I would have seen any kind of marker, spray paint or whatever, I'd still have the kid in the back of the neck calling you.
Let's not do that, but
What do I, okay, let me ask you this, what do I do?
just watch where they go. Ask them to stay there and see if they do.
Oh, they're gonna stay there. As soon as I
I'm
question
just
that, they're gonna
don't-
feed
You're
out.
better off not grabbing them because it'll cause more headaches overall. If not, watch
Okay.
where they go. Hop in your
Okay.
car and follow them. You're a better witness than holding people.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Anybody else?
Dave McCloskey, 212 East Ridge Road. Let me ask a question. Would council prefer that I wait until the agenda item happens to speak about it or ask about it? Or would they prefer that I do it now, before I ruin Roger's parade?
Well, they don't know any of this story yet, so
Would I be allowed to speak when Roger brings up later?
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's your answer. Anybody else? Yeah.
thanks for the cliffhanger.
Let's keep this meeting rolling. Anybody else for public comment? No? Okay. All right, closing public comment period number 1. Moving on to the consent calendar. Approve the minutes of the February 25th, 2025 Borough Council meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that takes us to action and discussion items. Delinquent sewer and refuse account collection. Discussion on, and if appropriate, suggested motion to authorize the borough solicitor to pursue writs of sera facias to commence foreclosure proceedings against the following 7 properties listed below.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm very pleased that you've learned how to pronounce that now.
I saw it, I was like, I have this. All right, personnel administration, retain full-time employee. Discussion on, and if appropriate, suggested motion to officially remove William Garber II from probationary status effective March 18th, 2025, and to retain him as a full-time employee for the Borough Administration Department.
I'll make the motion.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, President's report. I don't have anything. I covered everything under announcements.
Okay.
Mayor's report, you're up.
Thank you, thank you. You know, we already discussed this a little bit earlier in the meeting about the passing of the prior mayor. And this is a person who has dedicated much time to this community. And I think we should really, really give some thank yous to him. He was also in the military, which we had already spoke about. But one of the things that I'm thinking about is because of his contribution to this town for so many years, we should consider as like the council maybe some ideas on what to really recognize his accomplishments in this town, whether or not we think about, well, I'll listen to what some other folks has, but if we were talking about a town or a park, memorial park that we have, could we rename it in his name for that particular, because 35 years or more in this town is exceptional. The second part is maybe we could, as we're interested in putting in an entrance to the town to expose folks to a good town of Palmyra, maybe that place could be considered, having a section there or having his name on that one. And but I would open it up to other elements within the group here, to just describe some other ideas that they may have. I got to speak with him a fair amount, just as I was coming in to take his position, and we chatted about a lot of things within this town, and it made me feel very honored, and I feel very honored that I can have it. So, again, I just want to say thank you to him. I want to say thank you for his commitment to the town. So I don't want it to go on for this whole night, but certainly am sad, but still honored at having someone in that position that was in this town for this long. So I wanted to say thank you to Fred.
I agree, something definitely needs to be named after him or for sure. He did a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I had a thought about something, and I don't know how everybody would feel about it, how the town, and if it's even a possibility. But his big thing was giving back to the community, doing something for the people in the town. What about doing a community garden? We were talking about it, Tom and I were talking about it, and what about the ground down there? And I don't remember, is that the Schaefer Herb Tract? Is that the one at the end of town behind Rite Aid?
Yes.
It's an open field. Could we use that as a community garden?
It was at one time,
Was it?
and the community didn't take care of their garden, so we that was before, you had just come on. I wasn't
It was
here.
right, yeah, it was right about that time.
Yeah, because they were taking it out as I was coming on, to the position.
But I'm wondering if there's a different mentality now. You know, people understand what a community garden is. And I would also like to see if, and I don't know anything about how this kind of thing works, but can they also, as part of them using this ground, have to donate a percentage of what they grow to the community, to Caring Cupboard?
You might want to check with the Caring Cupboard because they may have some property after they build their, I mean, I'm not saying no to Schaefer Herb, but,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
you know, they have some,
Because it's vacant and we've tried to figure out what to do with it.
yeah, I
It
know.
already has a fence
People have
around
actually
it.
talked about a dog park there.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that's a feasibility either, but, you know, if you want to give back to the caring cupboard, maybe they have some extra space down there on
Yeah.
their overall plot that they might be using for community gardens, and it might be a good piggyback.
You just made me think of something, behind the Hershey Medical Center, they've got a big garden back there that they put a fence around, and then individuals rent a section each one. That might be something to think about, following something like that, that it makes it more, you know, defined how you get in there and a little more protective of just, you know, Eric, you know, you'd have to, and there's some, they pay a rental cost for it, we could do the same thing, maybe incorporate that, so something to think about there.
yeah.
Worth discussing.
Okay.
Can we, like, I don't even care how I would do it, but can we have a little time, maybe something pops up as we're driving around town or something, and make a list of ideas, and then, I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
I sort of like the property at Lingle, although I'm a little apprehensive about how that would be developed, so, but, you know, that would be a beautiful place to honor him. But again, the plans for, not sure about, so.
Yeah, we couldn't do this instantaneously, because obviously this was a situation that none of us knew was gonna happen the way it did.
Not this quickly.
No, not this quickly, I mean, yes, but it was so really unexpected, so, yeah, so I just wanted to put it out there, we can certainly discuss it and get some ideas, the town can make some, you know, even some ideas as well, so, I'm definitely with you, Jane.
Chief Winters and I visited Fred at the VA hospice the Friday before he passed away. And I can tell you, he was his same jovial, obstinate, argumentative, fun-loving, you know, personality that he was sitting here whenever you had any time to be with him. He was alert. He was able to communicate. He was able to argue with us, which we welcomed because that was Fred. And so his decline was fairly rapid, and he did not suffer long. So
I talked to Joe Templin, and must have been that Tuesday, maybe, last Tuesday, and said at that point, he didn't even recognize Ann.
yeah, he wasn't communicating at that point, yeah. But he knew us.
That's good.
All right. Everybody start putting your thinking caps on. Come up with ideas. You too, you guys too.
I know I'm a little late to the party, and I'm sorry, but did I miss or that I can voice what I came here for?
The first period, yes, but we're getting to the second comment at the end of the the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay.
I think he's gonna show you where, okay? All right, financial report. Financial statement as of February 28th will be available at the next meeting, which takes us to delinquent sewer and refuse account. Brenda?
Yeah, we're doing
Killing
good.
it.
We had a couple, you know, big balances get paid off in February. This next list of those that we've put on for writ of Seraphasia, just so you know, we give them an opportunity to come in and pay first before we spend the money for escrow at the sheriff's department. And so it's cheaper to have your attorney send them a letter than it is to pay the sheriffs to go to sheriff's sales. So we'll go that angle first, but we're not waiting long.
Thank the ladies as always. Okay. Moving on, fire department. We got the Citizens Fire Company Number one monthly report was emailed. Everybody should have gotten that. Any questions on that? And then we have our January Lifeline EMS report in our packets. Any questions on that? Okay, and then is this still? And then Fire Service Commission meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 16th at 6 PM, which takes us to Western Lebanon County Regional Police Department. Chief?
Not a whole lot. We just finished up our mock assessment to get accredited. They're coming at the end of the month for 2 days, and they'll look at the policies, the building, and if it all works out, we'll be accredited.
Any questions for Chief Winters? All right, Planning Commission did not meet in February. Next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, March 26th, beginning at 7, which takes us up to Public Works. No superintendent's monthly report.
He seems to be doing pretty good. I think he's a little more pain than he thought, but considering what he went through, it's, but he's been very good being available via his phone with the crew that we have here, so that's been very helpful. So.
Okay, so that takes us to Borough Properties, and that's all you, Roger.
Okay. We had a condensing unit issue today, so that's been repaired, so all the units are working now. Public Works Department, ECNS did start installing the new furnace, so they're in progress of that. So that shouldn't take them too much longer to finish that. Town Square, I was happy to see that the clock actually corrected itself for daylight savings time. We didn't have to do anything with it. I couldn't believe it. So that's a good thing. That's pretty much it for the borough properties. Nothing's happening exciting at the cemetery. Parks, the guys did manage to fix a couple of the sinkholes at Southeast Park. There's one left that's close to the property line, and Clint wanted to wait until hopefully he's back before they dive into that, so. Other than that, and the guys have been really working hard on the Memorial Park ball field to get it ready for civic baseball. I guess it's civic baseball. Actually reached out to the school district. School let them borrow some of their field drags to help get things in shape, because we have some different skills now and different opinions and maybe a little more pride, and they want to make it better. So it's looking pretty good, so. So they had to fight through frozen ground, wet ground, and now they have it just about the way it should be. So they were happy about that. Nothing refuse recycling related. Sewer system, pump station 3, or 2 is finishing the DEP water quality management permit that's required for the new pump station. So that'll be submitted here shortly, and then we're at the mercy of DEP when we hear back from them. So who knows? It could be weeks, it could be months, who knows? So.
They're actually on the ball pretty quick this year, Roger.
I hope so. Sinkholes, we have a couple big sinkholes in the detention basin in the 900 block of East Cherry Street. Mike Nouse looked at them from R2. He thinks we can do it with excavation, so we reached out to Jack Custer. He's on board to help, but he needed to locate some clay, and I'm not sure if he's found enough clay yet, so that's why we haven't dove into that thing yet. So that's the holdup on that. I already mentioned the Southeast Park Basin. That takes us to stormwater management.
Roger, real quick, before you move on, sinkholes. The one that's on private property, Grant Street,
Yes.
that's not encroaching at in the roadway at all?
No,
I've
it
heard
has.
people complain, no, it's going through there, so that's why I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, I should add that one to the list. ARM Group did take their extra study there. There's a really soft area right at the edge of the road and then probably some under the road. It's too deep to excavate, so we're probably gonna have to do some compaction grouting. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have the cost of doing that. And since they're gonna be doing some in the road, we're actually gonna have to apply to PennDOT for an HOP, highway occupancy permit too, because we'll probably have to have the road closed for several days while they're doing that. So, and then we'll have to figure out, there's like a 65 or 75 foot right of way from the center of that road off to the road edges. So any work that we're doing in there is gonna be on us, and any work outside of that, it'll probably be on, that's where Jack DeChico's property is. So I've been in contact with him, he's aware of it. On the west side is, I believe, well, High Street is on the west side, and then there's some private properties there. So if, again, depending on if we have to go that far, depends if we have to reach out to those property owners or not, but, so it's kind of still up in the air, but it didn't sound like it was gonna be a major compaction grouting effort, so hopefully it's not too awful expensive, but that stuff's not cheap, so. So stormwater management, East Ridge Road, Melrose, the off-site stormwater. If you remember, I said we had to, the Millfields engineers were gonna get back to PennDOT to ask about amending the existing HOP permit. They did that. They heard back from them yesterday, and we were trying to eliminate the pipe crossing that's there now. PennDOT now says it's their pipe, of course, and they don't want it removed. So that's the big holdup. So the design that Ritu prepared was gonna take all the water that would have gone through that pipe and from that road edge and sent it back into the new system. So I think it's a problem, we just need to keep working the problem, basically. I talked to Mike Nouse today. He's gonna contact Bill Swarnick, that was the person who talked to PennDOT, because we don't know what the communication was between them and PennDOT. So Mike thinks there possibly could have been maybe some miscommunication or something. Hopefully we can just work through it. And also PennDOT did want some additional stormwater engineering calculations for the outlet of the new system. And Mike said that's not a big deal. It's not like a major study in a lot of time. So he just said that's just something he can do pretty quickly, so himself. So they're the two major issues we're dealing with there, so. The only other thing to add is Bob Riahi's saying if that pipe does have to stay, he's gonna be probably likely to come back and say he just wants to pay his park and rec fees and bail out of the whole process. So that's another thing to add on to it, but I told him the same thing. Let's keep our fingers crossed, keep working the problem, and hopefully we come to the same conclusion after we get through PennDOT, so. And I think our local representatives will be helpful in that too, hopefully, so. The West Main Street, Mark Street culvert, no update on that. Mike is still waiting to hear back from the folks he reached out to that do bridge repairs for pricing and scheduling and that type of thing, so no timeline on that. Hopefully by the next meeting, we'll see.
We'll keep moving the,
Cones.
not the cones, the barricade at the alley. It's off to the side again. Just an FYI.
Still pick the wrong way and blow tires.
They're driving, I've seen cars driving at the side because the cones aren't the whole way over, so they're driving through the side and cutting through.
Something permanent you can put there? we have like a concrete barrier
Yeah,
or
Jersey
something?
barrier.
We don't, I mean, sure, we could get some, but we don't have any on hand. We could try to put the traffic barrels there, they're a little harder to move.
Maybe put one of
The
those at
barrels,
each
'cause
end.
the bases are really heavy, people don't mess with them too often.
Have you put enough?
Jack, ask Jack if he has any Jersey barriers he can put in there.
He might, well, and the other thing is, will PennDOT allow us to do that too? So that's another thing too.
Might make them fix it quicker.
They're not fixing it.
That's right,
We're
that's right, never
fixing
mind, never mind. Sorry, yeah, I forgot that, never mind.
You were thinking the
I was
right
thinking
thing,
something
though.
else.
You were definitely thinking the right way.
Sorry, sorry. Wishful thinking.
Street and alley maintenance, apparently we are number one on Pensie's list to get paving, so they're looking to start us in April as soon as they're able to get blacktop and the weather's good, so. Our roads will be done quickly this year. Nothing to add on traffic signals, and I don't think, one thing, we got the new mowers today, or yesterday, they were delivered. They're really nice. And we made out again on the sale of the old Hustler mowers. We were told they were probably worth maybe $3,500 for the pair. We got $6,455 or something like that for both of them, so on municipal bidding, so did really well with that, so.
I've seemed to have fairly good luck.
We've had really good luck with that, yeah. It's great. Alls it takes is like 2 or 3 people to get into a war with each other, and it just, you just watch the bids and you're like, are you kidding? It's still going, until somebody gives up, so it's worked out really well. I think that's it for Public Works.
Anybody have anything else for Public Works? Okay. All right, that takes us to the solicitor's report.
I actually have 2 things. One's not on the agenda. You should have received the letter from Joselle about the liquor license appeal. So there's going to be a pretrial conference April 29th. She just has to attend that. It's just for the attorneys and the judge to meet. And then there's actually going to be a bench trial on June 4th.
Which you're gonna have to be at?
I'll
or-
have to be at that, yes. So that's that. The second item is, we heard from our attorneys who represented us in the Medina sinkhole lawsuit that already went to trial. They have requested a new trial. So they have to file all kind of pretrial motions and stuff, get it to the judge by April 28th, and then Judge Tillwalk will decide if he's gonna grant them another trial or not. I said, what are we, going best out of 5 or what? I don't know, so. So if not, the attorney representing us said, this is kind of typical when you're approaching an appeal. So they're kind of expecting an appeal to Commonwealth courts.
Well, that would actually be a good thing, have Commonwealth Court review what Lebanon County judges have done.
Yeah, this. I was getting angrier and angrier the more I read it, so.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna comment right now.
So that's it for the solicitor.
Zoning and codes enforcement, everybody has the monthly report. Any questions on that? I'm liking the new
Yeah.
format.
I want to give a kudos again to our codes enforcement officer. I, again, got another letter in the mail. I got one last time. I got one this time for a non-inspected vehicle. So we'll be we've already talked to the tenant, and it was an oversight, and they will be getting that fixed right away. But they are out in force doing what we wanted them to do, to me. No, I appreciate it, I do. Yeah, I keep getting the letter.
Well, that's what happens when you're a landlord.
I know.
All right, Borough Manager's report.
I don't think I have anything else to report.
You already did it all.
Yeah.
Okay, no communications. Any other business? Mayor?
No, sorry.
Marcus?
Yeah, I'd like to, we had a pretty bad fire in the borough last Saturday, and I'd like to thank our fire crew, along with the other stations that mutual aided in. Councilmember Touche and myself were on scene. Jim helped open up some area for the family to go in. I also know that Mr. Brian Kelly opened up his business for the fire victims as well, and I'd like to thank him for that. And thoughts and prayers for the families that were involved in both of the houses.
Nothing.
Anthony? Roger? Brenda? Okay. All right, public comment period number 2. Please step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is Donna Hetrick. I'm sorry, I'm just getting over bronchitis. I live at 106 West Ridge Road. The first thing is we're at the top of a dip, and people coming from the west fly up that dip. And I can't tell you how many times we've almost been hit trying to just get out of our driveway. My aunt and uncle built our home 70 years ago, and then my parents lived there, and miraculously they were never hit, nor have we. But we widened our driveway so that we can turn around and pull out just because of this, because if you back out, you're a goner. You are a goner. They have no regard. There's a sign in the dip about blind driveways, but the sign is almost totally worn off. You can't read, or people don't observe it, whatever. That was one.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
what's your address again?
106 West, 106 West Ridge.
Ridge. Thank
Yeah,
you.
The other thing is, my husband and I own an apartment next to the Caring Cupboard. And this may have already been addressed when you talked about the blacktopping, but this past summer, that alley was scraped, and we thought it was going to be paved this summer or something done. Now, with the Caring Cupboard and the traffic that creates, they aren't even potholes anymore. They're craters to drive through that alley, and it is heavily traveled with trucks for the Caring Cupboard and so forth. And we had blacktop parking for our tenants, and there's a good 4 to 5 inch drop off now from that blacktop to get to where it was scraped. And I'm afraid that's going to break off that blacktop, and now we're going to have to do that again. So hopefully, you mentioned about blacktopping coming soon. Maybe that'll be one of the alleys, I hope.
Yes, that is actually they're getting ready to prepare that.
Oh,
I don't know
wonderful.
if they're gonna pave it, but it definitely will be worked on. because
Wonderful.
They actually
Wonderful.
saw that condition, so.
Thank you, thank you. And the third thing is, I'm kind of OCD with neatness. However, I love Palmyra, but in the summertime, and I know you talk about the beautification with the flowers and everything, but the square, the grass grows up between the sidewalks and the curbing, and no one ever takes care of it. And even though the planters are planted beautifully, and the area that I guess the garden club takes care of is beautiful, that grass is so unsightly, and the only thing that would have to be done would be some Roundup sprayed on it, and that would be that. And the strip of grass in front of NK Sporting Goods, nobody ever mows that until it's about a foot high. is that the borough's grass or is, it's theirs? Well,
That's a common code enforcement.
it's so unsightly. It's the square. That's it. That's all I have. Thanks for listening.
No, thank you.
Anybody else? We've been waiting all night. We've been waiting all night for what you have to say.
Roger covered it.
Roger covered it.
He did well. That's why I asked the question.
Okay.
We've got local reps involved. Council knows about what's happening.
Name and address, please.
He already said it.
This is a continuation, dear. I'm sorry.
Rules.
I do have two things. One thing I've noticed with our trash collection, they always show up, it's always empty. But with the windstorms we've had, they leave the tops open. And they're blowing down the alley. I don't know if it's just us up on the hill, but, I try to go out after they come and move mine back so that it doesn't. But if they would at least shut the lids, the wind wouldn't catch them. Yes.
Can it's funny that you said that because, my lids are always shut, but it just so happened this week at work that I saw a trash can, not as big, but the same design. And I literally saw the wind pick it up and like open the lid. I swear it looked like somebody was there opening the lid and then it
Yeah,
just
I've
bounced down
seen
the.
that happen
yeah.
too. But they go a lot quicker when the tops are
Yes.
open. And there was a second thing, but I don't remember what.
Sorry.
Well, when you were, I have actually looked down the alleys and around where I live, they do close the lids. I didn't see one open and I've been keeping my eyes on that as a matter of
It
fact.
looks like they've been doing it.
So I don't
in
know
my
what happened with you. I'm really surprised because I've been looking around a lot and they've been closing the lids. So that's a shame for you.
Up on the hill, it's.
Yeah, that's really
they're
a
always
shame.
open.
I feel bad for
Mine's
about
been
that.
open.
Yours has been open.
Depends on probably who's on the crew. Sometimes it's open,
Maybe,
sometimes it's
okay,
closed.
because
That
I
could
went
be
down
it,
through them. I've done that actually twice, because I was very curious, and around where I live, the 3 or 4 blocks, I haven't seen anything, but it could be elsewhere different, you're right.
Ours are about 50/50. Some days they close,
Really?
some days they
Wow.
I
don't.
think it depends on the crew
I think it depends who's doing it.
and the weather.
Yeah.
Very
Normally the
interesting.
garbage truck, mine's shut. Recycle guys, it's
yeah.
open, blowing.
Recycle's almost always open.
And
Interesting.
second thing, Jane, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh, my.
I understand that the homeowners association has taken over the catch pond? No?
Okay, so from what I understand, the developer has, I don't know if this is the correct legal term, has moved the pond to the HOA, but the residents have not taken over the
Okay.
HOA. In fact, there's discussion on that.
Okay, so then I'll rephrase my question. What can we do to at least have somebody put some type of fence around that hole before we have a child fall in it? That thing's been open for months.
And actually, it looks like it's gotten deeper.
Yes. Is that something the borough can do, or is it something that ask the residents to take care of, or?
Well, if the borough does anything at this point, the owner of record is the HOA.
Yeah.
So we're going after
Yeah.
the HOA.
Which is still under Weaver.
Yeah, that's still that whole, since the last time we discussed that whole, that's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
The residents have not taken over the HOA. There's been no board of directors elected or anything.
So the question is, who gets cited?
Well, if it's still under Weaver, I would assume Weaver.
Yeah, I think it's been transferred. I think it's in the homeowners.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
if
in
we
the
would send a
homeowners
letter, it would go
association.
I
to the.
think, yeah, I think the pond, yeah, but there's no.
But there's nobody to accept it.
But there's nobody to accept it.
Well, the
and
address is still Weaver's address,
Yes.
though. It's the name
And
changed, but the address is the
We
same.
just paid our dues to that address.
Can we check
And I-
Giselle on that one?
And I know there has not been a board elected or,
So we,
So
in
he-
order for the
at all.
borough,
He is the homeowner association right now?
he, from what I understand, he still has, I don't wanna say control, but he's still the HOA.
So technically, he's
There's-
the
there's-
HOA
yes,
right
We
now.
have no board, we have not had a meeting.
So it may have been transferred, but it's still him, because right now, he's the HOA.
in order for the borough to do something about it, we would have to send some kind of a notice letter to them, give them so many days to do whatever, and then if they fail, then we would have the ability to do it.
And charge them.
And, yeah.
Last time we sent it.
And it was fixed then.
Next thing you have a roller and an excavator in there real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
I'd
can do that.
really hate to see, I mean, it's getting nice out. Kids are always running down in that field. They're gonna be curious. One of them falls in, then it'll get fixed.
Doesn't seem like you correctly fixed it the last time.
No, this is a different one,
Different one.
yeah.
No, that was open
Well, it was there
before.
before, but it's not the big one that was out in the
Yeah,
middle.
it's not the big one in the center, it's the one by, really by the property.
Probably, twine somehow.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
So do you need a motion for sending a letter? Anybody else? Okay. All right, closing public comment period number 2. Borough Council will conduct its next public meetings on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025, and Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, beginning at 7 PM. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 28 minutes.